because we talked about this like briefly at Raleigh or like at the Marriott, which was you were talking about like basically it was a balance of things to do in terms not like within the game, but like about the game, like watching replays, 1v1s, yada yada yada. And I think it depends from role to role, right? Like if you're mid lane, you're gonna tend more towards maybe you need more 1v1s, right? Versus support, you're probably not queuing up the 1v1s.
You play
So
2v2s.
you play 2v2s. You really
Yeah.
just run
Oh,
the like
that's
you just run the
insane.
2v2s. That's
That's
actually insane.
insane. I
That's
know
sick.
I've done that before, but it wasn't like a balanced
So
2v2.
yeah, exactly. So I was just curious, because like there's the alpha right there. Is that you run 2v2s? Is like what are those things that you think you should do? And you can obviously just speak to like your anecdotal experience and your role, but like also like what do you think certain roles should do? Or at least I'm just curious about like what do you think about like support and stuff like that? Like what should you be doing? Like if you wanted to go pro, like what's everything that it takes? Like what's like the full package of things you're doing?
If you want to go pro, the first thing you got to do is you got to wake up in European hours. You gotta cut ties with the NA server if you actually want to go pro. Like this in the background, this is because I was trying out scrims with, I forget what the team was called. It was like Twisted Minds or some shit, but it was at Xantic, Shad, Davai Lama, and Theolacor. And their scrim schedule was at like 5:30 a.m. my time or something.
Wow.
And maybe 6. And I have a rule that I don't roll out of bed for scrims or officials. So if I am trying to play well
played, but on that,
then I'm always up a minimum of 2 hours early. So I wake up, I eat some food, I do my morning routine or whatever, and if I have time, I play a practice pub. If not, I'll watch some replays until it's ready or whatever. And then, the sun was coming in and I literally couldn't see. Like it was schizo. I could not see my screen because I've never played that early, even though I played EU pubs. Yeah. So like game 1, I could not see my screen. And then after game 1, I like found a blanket and put it there. But
nice. Yeah.
So that's one thing. The second thing is, this is a specific detail, but I think that going into depth on it is good because I think it provides scaffolding that, I suppose wouldn't occur to people, but 2v2s are the sideline version of 1v1s, and they're just as important as 1v1s. And the way you do it is, just to get into the nitty gritty, is you load up your lobby with cheats on in all pick, and then the way I do it, that there are 2 ways to do the hero picks. One of them is, this is all with the captain's own mindset. So one of them is you take your Warlock PA. You take your lane that you are going to pick blind in your drafts because you think it is really good. And then you just pick it and you let the enemy, which is your off lane and your forward, you let them double counter pick you. Yeah. And maybe you say like, okay, I'll play Warlock PA into anything except this hero, this one hero. And then they can do whatever else they want. And then you just sort of limit test your lane. You learn all your matchups for that lane. And then you learn, okay, this lane is resilient enough that it can lane into anything, maybe except this one hero, or maybe this other hero is destroying you, so you swap out your ban. And now because this is like the drafting order. You know that in the draft, you get your double pick, and you get 1 ban to protect it, so you can secure this lane with this pick. The other way to do it is more of like the draft order of like simulating the back and forth, where it's like the most common way to do it if you don't have a specific lane you want to practice would be like, I'll just pick a hero that we pick pretty often, pretty early. I'll just be some Jakiro or whatever. And then the 4 will pick some hero that they like into Jakiro. So say they're Rubik. And then the 3 will also pick. They'll be like Rubik Legion or something.
So you go like 1-2-1.
Sort of. Yeah. And then there's sort of like a gentleman's rule of like, just don't pick things that are good practice, right? If they pick some hero that cannot possibly deal with Naga Ilus, and my carry can pick Naga and 1v2 the lane, then sure, he can, but we're not going to learn anything from it.
Yeah, I see.
So no like disgusting counter picks and stuff like that. You load into the game. The cheats are on because you give yourself, everyone gives themselves 80 gold. And then you like use the teleport command to like put down sentries and stuff that are realistic. Like my pet peeve is when I would play 2v2s and my 4 would ward the hill. Like when I'm Radiant, they would just ward that hill every game. And I'm like, bro, and how many of our scrims are we warding that hill?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just like
He just
an advantage
sees
of the lane.
everything. Yeah, he literally just
Yeah.
sees everything. It's like, okay, dude.
That hill isn't
yeah.
there anymore, which is interesting. I like that
Well,
they
yeah.
removed that.
But like, even just like obsing your lane, like putting the best obs you can in your lane, I think it's unrealistic. I
'Cause a
go
lot of the
even
times
further.
you're not even using the obs a lot of the times. Like a lot of the times, I feel like the obs are getting used on the runes these days, right? So it's like you wouldn't have an obs in your lane.
Yeah, if I don't think I would have an obs, I don't put one. If I'm laning a coddle, maybe I'll put an obs, right? If I have a reason that I would ask for an obs in the game. And then I also buy a smoke and break it because that's just what every game is like for me.
Yeah, that's very realistic. So make it as realistic as possible.
Yeah, and then you can do the start game command to save everyone, like, and you get into a rhythm of this, and then it saves like a minute. For every game.
Yeah. once you get good at
When
it.
do you end the 2v2? Like it 5 minutes?
5 or 6 usually.
Okay,
Five or
so you
six,
don't
because
just
the
like
subs are
fight to
usually-
the death. You like end it at a good time, like a realistic time when the lanes
Like
are
when you
break
feel
down.
like the lane's been like concluded and
Okay.
you got to practice him.
Mm-hmm. And then if you really, so I'm a very, very detail oriented person. So actually, I forgot. I don't buy a smoke. I buy a blood grenade and I throw the blood grenade in the fountain because that's my 4's blood grenade. So like it mimics the stock of blood grenades that I would have.
Oh,
stock.
nice. Yeah.
Holy. Yeah, that's
And
really
then-
Really detailed.
And then
That's
if
really
you do start game command, the stock for raindrops doesn't like go up by the amount that the game went up. So it's like I'm laning Visage and it's minute 3 and my raindrop should be coming on Courier. I'm pretty sure I'm the only one who does this, but I'm super detail oriented. I buy a Ring of Prot and a branch and I send those out on the Courier. And then when they reach me, I use cheats to give myself a raindrop and I break those items.
Yeah. Wow.
That's really smart. Yeah.
But like
that's
most
really smart.
people, that's like too much work, which is understandable. So
It
they'll
is
just
a lot
like
of work.
they'll just like cheat a raindrop into their inventory at 3 minutes 20 or whatever, and then like not spend 225.
Yeah. And how often would you run these 2v2s when you're like in full like team mode? Every day?
It depends on the team.
Okay.
It depends on what our problems were. If our problems were in the lane, then we would be like, guys, we can't learn anything from these scrims because we're losing our lanes too hard. We can't play Dota. And then that's always the first thing. So if that's the problem, then you run your 2v2s as much as you need to. If you are laning with a new carry and you guys aren't clicking, you have to run a lot of 2v2s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We would schedule them just like scheduling scrims. The best time to do 2v2s, in my opinion, if you're only going to implement them at one point in time, would be, for example, in the DPC, when I was playing in Div 2 DPC, much less tryhard. These guys didn't want to scrim. That's fine. I didn't play like any scrims with them. But what I did is before our official, I had everyone come in 2 hours early and I talked to them about what I wanted to draft, like made sure that we were on the same page there. And then my mid player would go off and play 1v1s and then we would play 2v2s for like an hour. And then we would like talk to each other. I actually think that that's a big important thing. It's like if you're loading into the official and like the last guy doesn't join the Discord call until the draft is over, it's just like weird. Like
bad
you're not
vibes.
comfortable with each other. You're not warmed up like to communicate and just to work together.
Yeah. I mean, the warm up's so important in like physical sports, professional physical sports. So it makes sense that it'd be important here too. Wow. This is all new information to me, like the 2v2s.
Yeah,
That's
I honestly
really-
didn't realize that
really
teams are doing
insightful
it
to
that
hear.
much. I mean, it makes sense, but like,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right. Next, just as insightful question. What is your favorite color?
My favorite color, I think it's gray.
Gray is crazy.
That is
It's like
crazy.
the
I
only
think
person I've
gray's a
ever
cool
met
color.
that it is a cool color.
Yeah.
I think
It's
the only person
underrated,
I've ever
I
met
think,
that likes it.
fashion.